Hi guys, I'm Carly. Welcome to another plugin of the week. For those of you who are not so familiar with us, we are Point Blank, an electronic music school with courses in London, LA, Ibiza and online. Please do head to our website, pointblankmusicschool.com, where you can find out about the full range of our courses, which include DJing, music production, sound engineering and radio. And until the end of the month, we've got 20% off all of our LA courses and all of our online courses. So you've got like 3 days left before that runs out. And just a reminder that we're streaming live from Studio One, our SSL room here at Point Blank in London. So if you do have any questions for JC along the way, please feel free to post them in the comment section and we'll get to them a little later on. How are you, JC?
I'm very good, and you?
Good? Yeah, I'm good. Today we're going to be chatting through Universal Audio's SSL 4000 E-Series plugin.
Yes.
Nice.
Let's have a quick listen?
Yes.
Shall we?
Let's do that.
Let's have a quick listen. So here is a track that our students recorded as part of the sound engineering module.
Oh, cool.
A cover of Clint Eastwood by Corridors. And that is without, I'll just play you the music for now.
So this is without the plugin?
Without the plugin.
Okay.
And now, with the plugin.
Very nice.
Very nice. We like that.
We like that.
Very, very much. I could listen to it all. So that's the new version that got released as part of the 9.1 version. So I think maybe a week or a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
No, maybe a couple of
Fresh.
weeks ago. Fresh.
Very fresh.
And obviously SSL was really involved in the development with UAD in giving them.
So they gave them their stamp of approval?
Yes, indeed. And it is the classic 4000. And obviously those of you who have UADs or other plugins may have come across the 4000. It's the classic desk that was introduced in '79 and massive big changer.
And you're really familiar with that desk, aren't you?
Yes, I literally was trained on that desk.
Okay.
One of the first big studio I've worked at for several years. That was the desk that we had, one of them. And so I've got really to learn it, and it's probably the only piece of equipment, of audio equipment, that I know by heart, like my ears know it so well. Kind of like, 10K, that's going to do that, 1K is going to do that, the compressor. I kind of know before I do something, I'm like, I'm going to do that, and I know what's going to be the
we got
the
ourselves
result.
a professional.
So, like many people in the 90s, 80s, that was the desk of choice, Cool. Partly because its design was like at the flick a few buttons, the desk could change from recording to mixing very easily. Automation, very quickly compress, EQ, DS vocal. You could do so much stuff with it, like really so quickly. So really greatly designed, and it has a sound. It's the sound of the 4000 E series, which was then replaced by the G in the 80s and G Plus in the early 90s. So why is this desk different? This simulation different from previous emulation? Some of you guys who have the UAD are probably aware there was originally the 4K, which wasn't endorsed by SSL at that stage yet. And then there's the SSL now that is known as the Legacy. So what is the difference between this version and the one before? It has gone, UAD have gone a lot more detail in literally modeling the entire input to the output signal. Okay. That means line input, mic pre's, the VCSL, the VCA fader, all those elements were very much part of the sound. And the EQ, I believe they've refined it a little bit as well, in getting it like really much closer to the original. As a consequence, it takes a lot more CPU. Okay. So when here I've got about, how many? 4 plugins logged in, and you can see straight away, if you look at it's using 7 DSP. So I've got 1, 2, 3, I've got 7. So it takes a lot more. Like I think a mono version of the new one takes 10%, whereas the other one was 2%. So literally 5 times more. But because so much detail have gone into recreating that sound. So I'm going to listen to the drums first, and let's see what makes it very different from the previous version is these preamps here. So in flip mode here, I'm going to use the line input first. But one of the great things about the SSL was suddenly getting a line input. Normally by default when you mix, everything goes into the line input. It's fairly clean. You can boost it or attenuate it, but really it's becoming quite fun is if you start hitting the mic pre's, where you're going to get a bit more bite. So have a listen now. Line.
Yeah.
So I've matched the level with the mic. When you use the mic pre, you need to make sure you put a pad in. Otherwise, be careful. It's going to be very loud. I'm going to play it now. You see, and I'm overloading the input, as you can see. Again, that can be an effect that you may want to use because it sounds quite nice as well. You're getting those harmonics, so it works great on drums essentially. I mean, as you can see here. Really nice what it does to the kick and that's one of the things about the SSL as well. They distort really nicely in a nice creative way. Also, this button here, when you pushed XMR, is to simulate the original transformer. I believe that was the Janssen transformer on the desk. So again, having it off is going to give you a slightly cleaner mic pre. On, it's going to give you a bit more harmonic distortion, if you like. One of the good things about having that now is that UAD have developed this technology called Unison. So if you have an Apollo sound card, as you may know, if you have, some of you have an Apollo sound card, is that some of those plugins like the API Vision, the SSL now, the 1073 and the UA 610, can be used literally on the mic pre's and is giving that color. That means you can record nowadays as if you were going through those legendary pieces of hardware.
Wow,
and getting a sound which is really, really close.
Yeah.
So that's really super cool as well. So that's for the pre, and you see straight away without me doing anything, we're getting already a color. Really, just that little mic pre, already a color. So next in the channel, we've got the dynamic section on the SSL, classic dynamic section. You've got a compressor and a gate expander. So to activate the compressor, just press comp in. It's a VCA compressor with, if you press here, you've got a fast attack, a super fast attack, or a slow attack, which is the slow attack is variable depending on the input. So again, very musical. The more you drive the compressor, the more you're getting that kind of bite. Otherwise, it's fairly transparent and it can be quite clean. But what's great about it was like you really could push it. So let's have a listen how we're going to push it. Also, the link means that left and right channel when dealing with stereo signal are going to be compressing the same way. So I tend to leave it when you've got transient that you need to deal with. So with the fast attack, we're going to really squash the snare. No more transient.
Yeah.
It's really bringing out the body and the harmonics of it. You really hear plenty of attitude. Yeah. So now you can drive with a slow attack. The trick on the SSL. You hear with that? The slow attack on this compressor on the 4000 was really giving you that bite. It was a great way to bring more snap. That's why it was used so much on hip-hop records, for example. It really has that bite. I mean, you listen, you see here. Far more interesting.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
From Jason. Jason says, immediately I can hear the SSL color on these drums.
Yeah.
Were they also recorded with an SSL, or is that the color of the plugin coming through on its own?
That's the color of the plugin. It wasn't recorded on an SSL. I know we've got an SSL here, but that one was recorded next door, so it was recording on a different desk. Quite clean, quite transparent. It is definitely the SSL color. I mean, yesterday I've listened to it on headphones. It was the first time I listened to it, and literally put it across just a couple of channels yesterday, just to play with it, just to get a vibe, and on really good headphones, and even in bypass mode. I mean, on, but with nothing. Straight away I could hear a coloration. Just because they've gone in so much detail in recreative the non-linear aspect of the line amp and mic pre's, that you're really getting that kind of analog sound, analog flavor.
Another question, how different is it from the Waves version?
Very.
Very.
Yeah, because this one has the line and the mic, and I think it has been simulated modeled in a far more greater detail way. Yeah, very impressed. And obviously the fact that if you have an Apollo, you can record with it. So straight away you commit that sound to your recording, which I think is very, very important.
Yeah. Cool, let's carry on.
Let's carry on. So that's your compressor basically. And then you've got the EQ here, low frequency with a bell or a shelf. Without it, it's a shelf. Low mid, semi-parametric. Here is the bell, and you can decide how wide or narrow it can be. And one of the great things about this desk again was how the frequency cross between each range. You could really cover a lot with just those 4 bands. One thing to note is the black and brown. The brown was the original EQ on the 79 desk. I think the black was introduced a bit later, maybe in 83 or early 80s, still on the E series.
Okay. Only music, no mic. Okay. So yeah, no mic. No?
Yes.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we're back.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, we had a
technical glitch.
Technical glitch. A couple of mic went down the pack, the receivers, but we're back on. Okay. So yes, so the EQ, the black slightly more surgical, different curve for the high for the low cut filter. So yeah, two different EQ, sounding slightly different. The brown is supposed to be a bit more musical. The black is supposed to be a little bit more surgical.
Okay.
Not huge difference, but the bottom end and the top, maybe the mid is what was fairly similar, I think, as far as I'm concerned. So now let's have a listen what we've done with those 3 channels. I mean, you hear straight away. It's one thing I loved about the SSL as well, the 4000, was what it does on bass. You see how it suddenly keep it really tight, so you still can have, you can still have it really bassy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I don't put it too loud on the speakers, otherwise it's going to bleed into our mic, but it's really tight. So again, what I've done here, and I've put a gentle expansion, so to tighten up each attack as well, so everything is really nice and tight. I've EQ'd some of the higher note of the bass, which is around the 200, and I've boosted the low around 50, so both notes now feels at the same level. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I do that, you see this one jumps, so it's a nice trick to do.
Cool.
So it works really, really well on there.
I have another question for you.
Absolutely.
From your old mate Declan.
Hey!
He says, hi JC, hi Declan.
Hello Declan.
Obviously SSL channel strips were mono. Would you recommend working in mono to emulate that, or is happy working with stereo signals too?
I think I'd be happy to work in stereo.
Okay.
I mean, now with Logic 10.3, there is ways where you can select it here. Let me have a look here. You see here? Dual mono. So you could use it in dual mono and then work on left and right. So you can do both. Often for stereo signal, if I'm happy with what's happening on the stereo spread and everything, I would use the stereo. But I think for me, this dual mono thing on Logic is really a big change as well, and really helping with that.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's have a listen now other things you can do with this plugin. Let's have listen to the vocal. You notice here I've put two. One of the great things about the SSL was that the way the signal flow was happening, you could really do a lot of changes literally just by pressing a couple of buttons on the desk. That also made it, not only the sound, but those features made it a favorite of many mix engineers. So here, for example, you can send the EQ to the sidechain of the dynamic. Why would you do that? Well, typically, if you want only a certain frequency to be compressed, typically a de-esser. So for example, if we have these vocals here, you can hear.
Feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag, I'm useless.
The S's are a bit weird the way, to me. There's those S's isolated there, there's not much high mid. I mean, the recording of those vocals, not a super fan. But let's see what we can do.
In a bag, I'm useless.
So I got rid of a little bit of that S's here.
I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag, I'm useless.
Yeah.
But not.
So that works better in my opinion. And then here, I'm doing a little bit of brightening up, getting rid of low mid that are really creating a problem. And also there's a lot of breathing that maybe it has been compressed already, the stem that I've been given, but the breathing was really loud. So I've put the gate 2, which is a more severe gain reduction than the expander. Okay. So it's more radical.
In a bag, I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag, I'm useless.
And you see how everything, as soon as you put, I've got literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 6 channels as a stem here.
Now time for me is nothing cause I'm counting no age. Now I couldn't be there. Now you shouldn't be scared.
Again, here I've hammered the compressor. We're talking quite fast compression here, you know, quite heavy compression.
So I command you to
constantly
look, I'll
hitting.
make it all manageable.
I'm getting a little bit of that 1.5
chicks and dudes who you
K,
think is really
which I
kicking
love the
tunes.
sound of that on the
Picture
SSL.
you
You see, it
getting
brings that
down
bite
in
a
a
little bit,
picture
a bit of
tube.
attitude.
Like you lit the fuse. You think
really
it's
works
fictional,
really nicely
mystical,
again.
maybe spiritual, hearable, appears in you to clear your view when you're too crazy. Lifeless to those, the definition for what life is. Priceless to you because I put you on the
play with the mic, and by any chance, you know, by any means, play with it because it really gives some really interesting harmonics, and just the way it feeds into the mix after that, it really works really well. So you've seen with literally 6 tracks, hold a bit of compression, a bit of EQ, and things have come together already. Very nice, really tight. I would say start to sound like a record, which is what this desk has always been to me.
So how does this compare
to the real
thing?
I mean, obviously, we don't have a 4000 right now, but I've worked with them for a long time, and from memory and just how it felt moving the faders and playing with it on the drum, on the bass, like I've done now, it really feels like this is an SSL.
Nice.
You know. But what we thought would be interesting is, since we've got an SSL here, we've got the duality. So obviously different technology, some of the components are going to be different. You won't have the same, literally electronic components are not available anymore that were used in 79 or the early 80s. But obviously the philosophy is the same. And with the SSL, you know, everybody loved the SSL sound. So the duality, they've made sure to keep it close to what you would have with the original 4000s, but obviously they've developed more features into it.
So it's its big sister.
Yeah, it's the big sister, isn't it? So as far as I know, and maybe I'm wrong, all the latest SSL hardware, like the Duality ASW and some of the plugins, are based on the black EQ of the E series. And here you've got a switch on this desk where you can select between an E or a G. G was again slightly different, so I'm keeping it on the E, but with we've got the black version.
Okay.
So for the drums, we're going to make sure we're on the black. Yeah, so here's the brown, here's the black version. And I'm going to play the drums. So now, I have done similar settings, so let's have a look at our settings on the channel here on the SSL. Bit of compression.
Is this the desk?
So that's not the desk. Having said that, that's still going through the desk, obviously, through the line input. So I haven't done the EQ, I haven't done the compression, I've done that here. And I've left that as in the monitor input, so no trickery of line gain. However, here on this channel, where it goes, I've done the trick of putting it mic input, therefore driving a little bit input, just to get something, to see how close I could get it. Yeah, it's not far.
Not bad.
Not bad. Can't say there's one better than another. And usually I would suspect the hardware, if I drive it, other things going to start to happen because that's the nature of analog equipment. You know, that's why. But I've got to say, it is, in my opinion, the best simulation of the 4,000 channel strip I have heard until now.
Wow, okay.
By far. I just wish it takes a lot of CPU, so I may have to start having lots of UAD card to be able to put it on every single channel of my mixes. That's the only downside about it as far as I'm concerned. No, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved the way it reacts. It's just one of those, you know, when you're used to equipment doing just a boost, you expect something to happen a certain way, and they got it spot on. Like all the sweet spots, the bandwidth, the way things are reacting, it feels like being on the real thing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
No, pleasure.
Guys, I think you can grab a copy for 225 quid. Yeah, just head to the Universal Audio website and head to the Point Blank Music School website. That's pointblankmusicschool.com, where you can find out more about our courses. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon with another plugin of the week. See ya.